Hey, welcome into Chatterbox Bearcats. I am Nick Niehaus. I am joined, as always, by Eric Lilly. I'm not going to call this one the midweek show because I think this is like a pseudo added on podcast because, hey, the Bearcats have won 2 in a row and we got Texas Tech coming into town on Tuesday night. So figure we put this up Monday morning, have a couple days to talk before the Texas Tech game. It's big enough. So we're going to have an extra show this week. We'll probably do the midweek show. I don't know, probably release it Thursday, whatever. Give us a couple days to digest Texas Tech. So me and Lilly will come at you twice this week. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. And as always, on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe there as well. All right, Lilly. Bearcats take down the Sun Devils on Saturday. How are we feeling about the Bearcats' back-to-back victories?
Feeling good because we just got to win games. We got to do it, and we've done the job so far with these two. And heading back to that familiar territory of prove it, like what we were talking about after heading into the Kansas State game. Prove to us that you're different than last year. So we're back. We're back to that fresh slate. Not really. It's 2-4, but if you win Tuesday, things change, in my opinion. So excited for that. Also, slightly dreading it.
I know we have a lot of fans that are listening and heard you say that and are probably like, "Are we back?" And that's what that's how I am. Are we? Are we back, or are we a middle of the road Big 12 team that's taking care of business against bottom tier Big 12 teams? I'm not saying that's what we are, but until you beat Texas Tech, that's what you are. So, yeah, we got to prove it on Tuesday that we are a better than average power conference basketball team, which I think we absolutely can be. And from what we saw on Saturday, that is somewhat believable, I guess is the way I put it. And it's like, I watched this game. I was actually out of town, and I was at a sports bar that they eventually turned off the game with about 15 minutes to go in the second half to add like an hour of the pregame show of the Kansas City Chiefs game. But I'm an out of towner. I couldn't complain. I was like, what? I was lost. I just had to watch on my phone. But anyway, it was hard to even like have a solid reaction because I feel like it was like everything we did was everything we should have done. Like Mitchell had a good game. Seamoss had a good game. Jizzle shot way better. Dan didn't have the best game. But then you mentioned, are we back? Is CJ Fredrick back? That's I think my main topic. I tweeted about it like 10 times. And it's funny because you look at his stat line, he had 0 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 of 5 shooting, and only 6 points. So it's like if you didn't watch the game, you just see the box score, and I'm saying is CJ Fredrick back. You're like, what is this guy talking about? But I think he really added value in those 16 minutes that he played. Is he the number one story of Saturday's game? I feel like there wasn't much, right? I feel like everybody just did their job.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but it wasn't ugly either. Like they beat us on the boards. We weren't winning 50-50 balls still. You're seeing the familiar Mr. Optimist here. You're seeing the familiar problems, the things that make you question how good this team is. But when you win, you buy yourself time to get better. And I thought CJ stood out. Just when he's on the floor, things happen. Guys are scrambling. They got to chase him. And I think everybody played well except Dan. And we should have beat him by much more than 7. Like down the stretch, we kept giving him so many opportunities with turnovers. And it would have been a catastrophic loss if we blew that. Like catastrophic, because we deserved the win. We killed them, but we just couldn't put them away. And, more reps, win the game, get better, stuff like that. But I actually thought like in the same realm of CJ, like not popping on the box score sheet, but looking good. I thought the same thing about Day. I thought Day was killer in transition. He had that one big turnover at the end there. That was one of the things I was just referring to, where Wes just launched his clipboard. I don't know if anybody saw that. The mic was right there too, so you could hear it on the broadcast. But that kind of sums up the game. Like, he wasn't throwing the clipboard because Arizona State was outplaying us. He threw it because we were trying to get him back in the game. Like, just boneheaded stuff. And I thought Dillon, it hasn't been like people clamoring for him to get benched or anything, but I've said it. A couple people have said, like, let's try a small ball lineup with Dillon on the bench. And he started off the game hot. Like, that beginning run, that was his best first 10 minutes of the game. That was his best performance of the year, in my opinion. And we didn't lose control after that.
I think my favorite play that we get to see in a Bearcat uniform is the Dillon Mitchell poke out at the top of the key, where, watch out, he's going to have a sick windmill dunk, because I feel like he's good for about one or two of that a game. Now, I'm sure he hasn't done it every game, but he did it against Xavier, and that turned the game around, if I'm remembering correctly. But he had one, on Saturday against Arizona State. That's my favorite play. You mentioned the lead, trying to give it away. I feel like I should be more upset about the fact that we let them back into it. But honestly, I was just kind of happy that we were able to get a 16-point lead. That's my take on the matter. Is it was kind of refreshing to see us score and put up a big lead on a power opponent. So I guess I'm not really too upset, just because we did hold on to win, and it got a little hairy, but it was never like, well, it might have been 2 to 3 points, but it wasn't
It got to
tied.
4.
Yeah, it wasn't like tied or really scary. It was like, it was scary. I guess I'm changing my tune. Like, it was scary, but I don't know. I'm not really too upset at the fact that we blew it. I'm more so trying to look on the glass half full side of, we were able to get a 16-point lead, and Arizona State's not terrible. I didn't look up, since the game came and went, I haven't looked up what they are on KenPom or anything, as I'm kind of, they're 61. I just found it real quick. That's good. So
they
that's
went
good.
up from losing.
Okay.
They went up. Yeah.
So no, I'm feeling okay about that game. It was it existed. Right? The game we won.
And to your point, like, we had 2 kill shots there. Like, we earned the lead, and we earned the right to make mistakes down the stretch like that.
What's a kill shot, if people don't know?
Yeah, Evan Mia's website. He's a big analytics guy. It's a 10-0 run, and there are articles he's written on this where, in college, obviously 10-0 runs in the NBA don't mean shit, because you can score 10 points in like 20 seconds. But there is a correlation between 10-0 runs and winning basketball games. It's not like if you get 1 kill shot, you're going to win, but it drastically increases the chances. And if you get 2 kill shots in one game, it even more. And we didn't really do that last year. And we're not scoring a bunch of points right now, but we are getting a decent amount of kill shots. So when you have a low-paced game, low-scoring game, and you're getting 10-0 runs, those are even more meaningful. Like, if Houston gets a 10-0 run, it feels like a 30-0 run, like stuff like, and that's the territory we're in right now with how slow we're playing. We might not score 70 again, like this rate, but there's reasons for optimism, and also you see things lingering that are a little scary.
Yeah, I'm not, ever since we started 0-4 in conference, I'm kind of trying to tame myself on the roller coaster of being a Bearcat fan. Like, these 2 wins, as they were necessary, do not have me back on the Bearcats or elite train. 5 for 22 from 3-point. That's good for 22%. So we UC just can't shoot. They can't. But I will say this: the stats are kind of what you expect from the 3-point line. It's like Jizzle 0 for 4, Dan 0 for 3. Like, those 2 are probably okay shooters from 3. Like, Dan, I mean, Baylor game 5 for 7 from 3. Like Dan seems to sometimes just have it. But you look at his shot and you're like, he's way better at everything else, right? It's definitely not a strength of his game. And then 2 for 5 CMOS, 2 for 4 CJ. So it's like, yeah, it's 22% shooting from 3, but like from the 4, main shooters of the basketball, like the 3 guys who are going to have the ball in their hands offensively, and then CJ Fredrick, like that's, I mean, I don't know. Am I letting Jizzle and Dan off the hook for going 0 for 4 and 0 for 3? Like, I feel like it's just not their game. Like, that's not their thing.
It happens. You forgot one, though, that maybe we should talk about this. Tyler Betsy made a 3.
He did. He had good minutes too. He had a cleanup, offensive rebound and transition. So Tyler Betsy trending up. I mean, he only could go up, in my opinion, but
and we are so due. Like, can we just whip out 15 threes on Tuesday? Like, aren't we due?
Yeah, and we were due for free throws, and look what's happening.
Yeah, like
12 for 16 from the line. So like maybe there's something to be said about that. Tony Pike tweeted, "We're just better pushing the ball." I mean, it's like sometimes the easy solution is correct. Like we do just look better, pushing the ball. Like I don't know. I don't want to be like the casual fan of like what seems easiest is probably accurate, but our half court offense is not great. And I don't know, like the transition stuff, like we had how many points in transition or fast break points? I mean, there was a graphic that you see tweeted out. So, I mean, that was a huge part of this win.
It was a big gap. They, Chuck and Houdini talked about it in the post game. I'm going to be wrong. It was like 25-2 or something. It was bad, bad for Arizona State. And we talked about this last week, like half court offense, I think it's safe to say, and it's not going to be great. Like, obviously it can be better, but we can get better. But we're now playing teams that turn the ball over. We're now playing non-elite teams that aren't Kansas, Arizona, Baylor, who even with their defense isn't elite, they get back on defense. They know how to play transition defense. They know that we cannot score in the half court, and they adjust their game plans to make sure that we don't get those opportunities. Colorado and Arizona State, they turn the ball over. And combine that with their talent level, and I think you can already see, like, okay, we're starting to look a little better here. Like, there's reasons to think we can beat the teams at our level or worse. The West Virginias, the BYUs, the Utahs, like, if we had beaten Kansas State, we'd be sitting here right now saying we're going to run through this part of the league, the middle bottom. But we didn't. So we got to wait and see a couple more games here. I'm cautiously optimistic, though. I just believe in our talent. I know we question how good. Like, I think I was probably wrong about how much talent we have, but there's no reason to tap out now. If we went on Tuesday, the whole thing flips, just like we talked about. 10 days. We went from Fire West to you're easily in the tournament in 10 days. But you gotta win a top 15 home game for once.
Yeah, and I was curious today as I was sitting in the airport. I was like, I'm curious how the fan base is feeling. So I had a pseudo poll of the week. Simple question: will Cincinnati make the NCAA tournament? Yes or no? 57% on 198 votes said yes. So I you know what? Can I?
What do you think it would have been last week?
Oh, 35. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. All 3 polls of the week have been like 54%. Now this is 57. But like I'm just asking good questions.
We like the coin flip.
Yeah, I'm asking good questions out here. I don't know how I would have voted. I can't vote. You said you voted. I don't know. You know what helps is Xavier's good. And that sucks. Like I found myself cheering for Xavier on Saturday. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to like vomit saying it behind a microphone. I cheered for Xavier. I shouldn't even have admitted that, but like they took down Marquette. Xavier's up to 46 in KenPom. That helps out the Cats. That absolutely helps out the Cats. Dayton has not been great. They're still 67 on KenPom. So, how are you feeling about the tournament chances?
Well, I would have said yes a week ago. So you know me.
Yeah.
I just believe in the team, the culture, and I think I was thinking about this last night. Like, if you believe, like to me, Wes's superpower is team. It's culture, it's acquiring talent. We should get in the tournament because of that. Like we have that much. Like we're better than these Utah. We're better than these teams. We have enough players to beat them. And when it comes to a 20-game league schedule, we should win 10 of them. And that's how I try to look at things, even when we're 0-4. I try because I know that if you watch the pressers, you can tell they're locked in. You can tell they're not giving up. It almost feels like they've been like, "Hey, our fans are kind of turning on us. Let's get even closer. Let's turn this into energy, positive energy." Like we gotta like Wes. I thought Wes played that perfect in the presser. You know, what the people that believe will do it for you, and then the people who are doubting, thank you too. And they're harnessing the energy. They're staying focused. They're playing hard. And I fully believe the team of this talent level that plays hard will get in the tournament. That's just how I look at it. And that's probably why I'm good at not riding the roller coaster like some people. But at some point,
Call me out.
it's not fun. It's a lot of people. I'm the weird one. It's not you, I promise.
Yeah.
But I just think it's going to be fine. It's not fun. It shouldn't be this way. Like we should have beaten Kansas State, and we should have won one of those three. Or if you throw in Villanova, we should have probably won two of those four, or one of those four. But I still think we're good enough to respond.
Well, got a big one Tuesday night. As mentioned, Texas Tech comes to town, 52.7% chance to win, according to ESPN's matchup predictor. They are 13-4, 4-2 in Big 12 play. This is interesting. I'm curious, and I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they do have the biggest variance of KenPom to AP poll. I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but
that's been true all year, by the way.
Okay, so 12 in KenPom. So they're the 12th best team, according to Kenneth Pomeroy and his analytics, but 31st in the AP poll if you go by like receiving votes. UC is 35th in the AP poll if you extend it beyond 25, which is interesting. Well, like what is it because they don't have an amazing win? Now, that might change tomorrow or Monday. If you're listening to this, you might be like, they are in the AP poll because they smoked Arizona, which is at BYU a better win than smoking Arizona? I don't know.
On paper, they're probably pretty close, which is crazy, but
yeah, but they did. They just whooped Arizona on Saturday. Their losses are to St. Joe's, Texas A&M, UCF, and Iowa State. So no bad losses. I mean, St. Joe's, I feel like every team we play has lost to St. Joe's. But yeah, I mean, they beat Kansas State, Arizona. This is a good team.
they're and to your point with the AP poll, we had the preseason hype with voters and they didn't. And it was kind of felt like it was us or them and we just got all the hype. But three-man weave, it's a big national pod. They have Final Four futures for Texas Tech. There is a Texas Tech hive. They're fun, talented. They're a little weird, very small, but then they started off slow and didn't have a good win until at Utah, at BYU, which is in January. They had, like, with how we were reacting, UC fans heading into Big 12 play, it felt like a little was missing. We were happy, but like it felt like our resume was missing a little with Villanova. They were 10 times worse. They lost to St. Joe's, lost to A&M. They didn't play anybody other than those teams. Syracuse ended up being crap. That win doesn't really matter. And then they just lost to UCF. And it's when they were 9 in KenPom in November, they had 0 AP votes. Like, this is a team that's been analytically, the analytics have loved them all year. They had a little step back, but they seem to be coming into form right now. But we got them on, they played Saturday. They got to fly here. So one less day of prep. And I don't think the resume matters. One thing I do know that matters is if they don't stack wins like they should, they're going to be the team next to us if we're both on the bubble. We have similar resumes right now. It's going to be a competition all year. Us, them, maybe West Virginia at this point. I think I'm willing to throw them in there. I know some people are really high on them. They're in our tier. So this is one, we don't play them away. This is one where we can get that win and have that advantage head to head if something does happen come Selection Sunday. And I don't know if you've watched Texas Tech. I watched them play St. Joe's. Just a weird team. They're short. They shoot a lot of threes, but they have some thick. Like Darian Williams, love this guy. Like I wanted UC to get him when he transferred from Nevada. 6'6", 225. Like sounds weird, but to me, like he just kind of looks like Davenport running around. Like similar frame, little chunky. Much better than Davenport. He's one of their best players. Him and JT Toppin, Chance McMillan. Those are the three. The wing, power forward, center. And they all present unique problems. Now, JT Toppin was a massive portal haul they got. He could have gone anywhere. And something to watch out for him. Let's see what you think on this. He's 6'9", 225, center. Doesn't really shoot threes. But good Lord, does he foul people? He every game, if you go to his game log, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, it's and when you're playing 2 games a week in the Big 12, this is an opportunity here. Like, can we get this guy in foul trouble and deal with the backup? And their backup's been decent too, but that's it. They just have 2 guys there. So that's something I'm going to be watching on Tuesday.
Well, JT Toppin's nearly averaging a double-double. 16 points, 9 rebounds. This guy's a stud. Texas Tech is very balanced, unlike UC when it comes to, I feel like we mentioned KenPom, and KenPom's not like the gospel, but he is like the number one analytical website when it comes to college basketball. But UC is 132nd on offense, but 7th on defense. So UC's elite defensively. Texas Tech has the 10th best offense and 35th best defense analytically. So KenPom loves them. Like, that is a really good balance. One thing I noticed with Texas Tech, and you don't need more proof that transfer portal might be the way to go, but if you need proof, look at Texas Tech, because every single player in their rotation, and by rotation, now I don't know what their rotation is, but by rotation, I'm saying double-digit minutes a game. Every single player but one is a transfer. And also, their top 5 guys scoring the ball are all coming from mid-majors. One of them went from Howard to Minnesota to Texas Tech. I'm not counting Minnesota in that. 5 guys started their college career at a mid-major. You have New Mexico, Grand Canyon, Drake, Nevada, Howard. So that's interesting, Lilly. Like, shout out to the Texas Tech scouting department, because like it's working so far. Like, their resume, like you said, it's probably not off the charts, but this is a good team, and they're all mid-major guys.
Yeah, and then the one guy that isn't is a true freshman who's shooting 42% from 3. He's a starting shooting guard, Christian Anderson. That's the one guy that didn't transfer that you were mentioning, I think, is a true freshman.
Yeah.
And they're traveling. Like, you see some surprising results, I guess, lately with Baylor and Arizona. Like, we know how good they are, right? And they're losing the away game that's a couple days after the Saturday game. And this is a good spot for us. Now, Texas Tech is way ahead of us in analytics. KenPom has them winning by 1 because of the away game, but like this is a good spot. They had to travel. They played the same day we did. You should probably win the game if you want to be for real.
Yeah, I feel like I had that out before Big 12 play of like if you want to be for real. But do you view that because like I don't want to say I'm scared because like I can't just keep being scared of every good team, but like is that how you're viewing this? Is like this is one we should win? Because I don't think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. Should's the wrong word.
Yeah.
But like,
that's a tough
we're
question.
so overdue for one of these. Like, if we don't win this one, it's like the next time we have a chance to play like a top 25 team at home is Baylor in February 25th. And that's it. The rest of our schedule is away versus elite teams and then the middle or lower part of the conference. And I think it's important this year to win a couple of these games. And at this point, we have to win one. There's only 2 left. Win them. And I'm just sick of walking out of that arena. You know the feeling of, the Arizona, the Kansas, Texas last year. We're good enough to win a game of like a game or 2 of these games. Like, do it and send a message to the fans. Like, the last couple of home games have been a little miserable with the boos and the groans and this team. It's safe to say at this point, this team has to earn it from the fans. Like, show us, and then we'll get crazy again, which I think sucks, but that's how it is. Like, prove it.
This very well could be a turning point. It very well could be. I'll tell you what, like, despite how we have felt the last 2 games winning at Colorado and at home against Arizona State, a loss or a bad loss, like not looking like a good team against Texas Tech, undoes all of that for the casual fan and probably has people saying and questioning Wes Miller once again. I feel like
same discourse. It'll
it's
just
gonna be the same
extend
thing.
it. Like, it'll feel like
Yeah, it
We
will.
don't want that.
No, we certainly don't. So JT Toppin, hopefully he's tired or something.
They
Like,
have a top 10 offense too, by the way. So that's 39% from 3, top 20 offensive rebounding. They're good defense, but not elite. It's one you can win, and it's one you can get blown out in. But it's a good spot for us, and we have to perform.
Play desperate.
Can we win a 50-50 ball like on Tuesday? Come on.
Yeah. Well, we have some things to look forward to. Dan didn't have his best game, still scored well. Maybe he's a bounce back. CJ Fredrick, like I said off the top, I think, could be an X factor for this team. And he was somebody that nobody was talking about a couple months ago. So, I mean, I'm sure people forgot he was on the team. And I think he might provide some real minutes and a spark off the bench because he surely did against Arizona State. Final thoughts, Lilly, before we go.
Not much. I think the Toppin thing's one thing to watch. And then we talked about McMillan and Darian Williams. Those are the 3 guys. I'm not too worried about the freshman or the other guard. We are bigger than this team by let me run through it real quick. 5'11", 6'2", 6'3", 6'6", 6'9". We're bigger than these guys. The backup center is 6'11", but the backup 4 is 6'5". Like, they have one guy on their roster taller than 6'9" that's going to play. And we haven't been rebounding it well in Big 12 play. It's pissing me off. Like, Arizona State is not good at rebounding. Colorado's not good at rebounding. Kansas State's not good at rebounding. And we have not, shown – I don't know if this is a Dan Skilling's injury thing, but we are ticking down in the offensive rebound percentage. We're now 36th, and I'm pretty sure at some point we were top 10. And last year we were 15th. We need to figure that out because I am operating under the assumption that we're not going to be a very good offense. So we need more possessions to make up for that because we have this elite defense and we need one other thing that gets us those possessions. And it's going to be offensive rebounding. This is a spot where like size, like remember the Dayton game where like Dayton is top 75 defensive rebounding. And I was worried, but as we pointed out the size, this could be one of the Texas Tech is good at defensive rebounding. Decent. They're elite at offensive rebounding, but this is like you're bigger than these guys. That's what I'm watching right there. Come on, Dan.
Perfect, because I was going to bring up Dayton. I was like, hey, that's exactly what we said about Dayton, and we bullied them. Straight up bullied Dayton. So, yeah, hey, that's the show. Chuck and Houdini are going to be coming at you live right after the final horn on Tuesday against Texas Tech. Hopefully, they're all hyped up from a big Bearcat win. And then we'll come back at you later in the week with the weekly midweek show. But that's all we got for you. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. Go Bearcats.